a man's kindness and trust turned into his greatest curse. When a wealthy man gives his friends everything, little does he know that their loyalty hides a dark secret. Betrayed and cursed, he faces the unimaginable, losing everything he once had. This is a story of greed, magic, and the battle to reclaim what was stolen. Like, share, subscribe, and let me know which country you are watching from in the comment section. Let's go. In a small but fast-growing town called Olorun, there lived a man named Jide. People called him Jide the Rich, not just because of his money, but because of his heart. Jide owned many businesses, boutiques, car yards, electronic shops, and even a hotel. His face was always calm and his smile warm. But what made Jide truly special was his kindness. Every month, Jide would clean out his wardrobe and give away his clothes. Suits, shirts, shoes, even perfumes, he gave them out like gifts from heaven. "Take," he would say. "God has blessed me, so I must bless others." His friends Kunli, Sei, Bala, and Tade were always around. They smiled wide, laughed at his jokes, and praised him for being good. "You are too kind, Jide," they would say. "May your riches never finish." But deep inside, they didn't mean it. Behind their smiles were sharp knives. Behind their laughter were dark plans. One night, the four friends gathered at Kunli's house. The air was thick with smoke from burning incense. The lights were off, only candles flickered. "Jide is a fool," Sei said, rubbing his hands together. "Yes," Bala replied. "He gives away everything, but we gain nothing." Kunli leaned forward. "Not anymore. I know someone who can help us turn his kindness into our wealth." Tade raised his eyebrows. "You mean?" "Yes," Kunli said. "The ritualist in the forest. He told me something shocking. If we take something that belongs to Jide, something close to his body, like his clothes, he can transfer Jide's blessings to us." Silence filled the room. Then Bala grinned. "We already have so many of his clothes." Sei laughed. "Then let's finish him." But Jide had no idea. He thought he was helping. Every time they visited, he welcomed them like brothers. He would offer them food, drinks, and sometimes cash. He trusted them. One morning, Jide called the four of them to his house. "Come, my friends," he said joyfully. "I just bought new clothes from London. These old ones are still very good. I want each of you to take some." "Ugh, thank you, Jide," they chorused, pretending to be grateful. Jide handed them fine suits, silk shirts, expensive trousers, and designer shoes. He laughed as they hugged him. "Make sure you wear them with pride," he joked. But as they walked away, their faces changed. That pride, Kunli whispered, will soon turn to begging. That same night, the four men traveled far, deep into the forest where no road led. There, under a large twisted tree, they met a man dressed in red and black, with chalk on his face and fire in his eyes. "Do you bring what I asked for?" the ritualist growled. "Yes," Kunli said, handing him a bag of Jide's clothes. The ritualist smiled. "These clothes carry his soul, his scent, his power. Tonight, we shall drain his riches." They lit candles made from bones. They chanted strange words. The ritualist poured black oil over the clothes and tied them with red strings. Then he buried them under the tree. "From this night," he hissed, "Jide's glory will fall, your pockets will grow fat, and his stomach will grow empty." Meanwhile, back in town, Jide couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in bed. Sweat rolled down his face even though the fan was on. Something felt wrong. He couldn't explain it, but he felt cold inside. The next morning, he woke up to 10 missed calls. His hotel had caught fire. The top floor was gone. 2 cars from his showroom had been stolen. His shop manager had disappeared with money. Jide froze. "What is happening?" he asked. He ran to his businesses one by one. Each one had a problem. Stolen goods, fire, missing staff, angry customers. He called his friends. "Please come, I need your help." They came, but their smiles were fake. They hugged him, but their hearts laughed. "It's just a bad season," Kunli said. "You'll rise again." But the look in their eyes said otherwise. That evening, Jide sat in his living room, surrounded by silence. His phone was off, his hands trembled. He looked around at his once beautiful house, now feeling empty. Suddenly, his dog barked, wild and scared. The light flickered. The air turned cold. Then the dog stopped barking. Jide sat still, frozen with fear. Somewhere in the shadows, a whisper came. Not loud, but deep inside his mind. "You gave your spirit away." He jumped to his feet. "Who's there?" he shouted. No answer, only silence. His heart beat fast. He looked down at the shirt he was wearing, one of his favorites. He remembered giving a similar one to Kunli just days ago. You gave your spirit away. Jide begins to suspect something is wrong, but he doesn't yet understand that the very clothes he gave out are being used to destroy him. The forest was silent, but not peaceful. The kind of silence that feels wrong, like the trees were holding their breath. The four men, Kunli, Bala, Sei, and Tade, walked slowly, holding a bag full of Jide's clothes. No one spoke. Only the sound of dry leaves crunching under their feet filled the air. They were deep in the heart of Ajay forest. No animals, no birds, only shadows. Are we sure about this? Tade asked, his voice low. Kunli didn't stop walking. There's no turning back. They finally reached the tree, the same twisted tree from before. Its branches curled like claws and its bark was black like burnt wood. A small fire was already burning. The ritualist stood there waiting. He looked older than time, with a face full of scars and eyes like empty holes. You came, the ritualist said with a grin. Do you have the man's soul? Kunli handed him the bag of clothes. The ritualist opened it and took a deep breath. Ah, yes, his spirit is here. He placed the clothes in a circle around the fire. Then he brought out a clay pot filled with thick black oil. He poured it over the clothes slowly, whispering words that made no sense to the human mind. Then he turned to them. Do you want his wealth? Yes, they all said in one voice. Are you ready to pay the price? They hesitated. What price? Bala asked. The ritualist smiled with yellow teeth. Nothing you'll miss, just your loyalty to him. Betray him completely, wish him ruin from your heart. They looked at each other. Then one by one they nodded. Let Jide fall, Sei said. Let his hands turn to dust, Kunli added. Let his mouth know hunger, Bala said coldly. Let us rise while he falls, Tade finished. The ritualist threw powder into the fire. A red flame shot up and smoke rose high into the sky like a warning to heaven. It is done, he said. From that moment, something began to change. Far away, Jide sat in his office going through papers. Suddenly, his eyes became blurry. His hands started shaking. He dropped his pen. What is wrong with me? He whispered. Then his phone rang. It was the bank. Mr. Jide, we're calling about your loan repayment. Your account is overdrawn. Jide blinked. That's impossible. I had over 5 million naira just 2 days ago. Sir, your account is empty? He hung up and called his accountant. No answer. He called his hotel manager, switched off. He called his lawyer. Sir, the lawyer said, sounding nervous, some documents were forged under your name. The tax office is investigating. What? Jide's head spun. His world was crumbling, but he didn't understand why. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stood by his window, looking into the night. The trees outside swayed, though there was no wind. The moon hid behind clouds, and in the darkness, Jide saw something, or someone, standing near his gate. A man, or a shadow. He blinked and it disappeared. The next morning, everything got worse. His hotel was shut down by the police. His boutique had been looted overnight. A customer came to return a fake phone. Jide had never sold fake products. I bought it from your shop, the man shouted. Jide was confused. We don't sell fakes. That's not from us. The man pulled out a receipt. It had Jide's business name, but the signature wasn't his. Somebody is destroying me, Jide whispered. He drove to Kunli's house. His car struggled to start. He knocked for a long time. Finally, Kunli opened the door, pretending to be sleepy. Ah, Jide, you didn't call before coming. I didn't know I needed permission, Jide said quietly. My life is falling apart. Kunli acted surprised. What do you mean? Everything is going wrong. My bank account, my businesses, my hotel. People are turning against me. Maybe it's just bad luck, Kunli said with fake concern. Jide stared at him. Something felt off. Kunli's house looked different. New furniture, a new TV. He was wearing a gold chain, driving a new car. I thought you were struggling, Jide said. Kunli laughed nervously. Ah, I got lucky-o. My cousin sent me money from Dubai. Jide didn't believe it. He wanted to ask more, but his head started hurting again. He drove back home, but something was wrong there too. His gateman was gone. His generator had stopped working. The fridge was warm. The food was spoiling. His house was slowly falling apart like a dying body. He sat in the dark and listened to the silence. Then he remembered the whisper from before. You gave your spirit away. He stood up and looked through his clothes. He touched the empty hangers where his favorite suits used to be. And suddenly, it hit him. All those clothes, the ones he gave to Kunli, Bala, Sei, and Tade, they were personal, touched by his body, worn with joy, given with love. What if those clothes were the key? He shook his head. No, that's not possible. But the feeling in his stomach said otherwise. Jide begins to connect the dots. The people he trusted most may be the very ones stealing his destiny, and they've used the very gifts he gave to destroy him. Jide couldn't sleep. His mind was spinning like a broken fan. The feeling in his chest was heavy, like 1,000 stones pressing down. He sat on the floor in his living room, his eyes staring at nothing. His clothes were dirty, his phone had stopped ringing, even his helpers had stopped showing up. God, what have I done wrong? He whispered. He tried to eat bread, but it tasted like sand. He had no appetite, no peace, just questions. That night, his dreams were dark. He saw himself standing naked in the middle of a market, while people laughed and threw stones. His 4 friends stood in the crowd, wearing his suits, smiling with evil in their eyes. He woke up screaming. Sweat drenched his body. His heart was racing. He looked around. He was alone. He got up and walked to his wardrobe. Only a few shirts remained. His favorite clothes were gone, given away. He touched one hanger and suddenly felt cold. A voice whispered again, "You gave your spirit away." His hands began to shake. Something was not right. Deep inside, he knew the truth, but his mind refused to accept it. The next morning, he went to Sei's house. The gate was open. Sei came out wearing Jide's old Rolex watch and one of his designer jackets. "Sei," Jide said, "where did you get that?" Sei smiled. "You gave it to me, remember?" Jide nodded slowly. "Yes, but why do I feel strange whenever I see my old clothes on you?" Sei's smile faded for a second, but then he laughed. "You're just stressed, Jide. Come, let's talk inside." Jide stepped into the house. It smelled of something odd, like burnt herbs and oil. He saw candles in one corner of the room. His eyes narrowed. "What's that smell?" "Just incense," Sei said quickly. But Jide's heart was pounding. He noticed a small wooden bowl near the couch. Inside it was a piece of cloth, bright red and familiar. It looked like a piece of his old suit, cut and folded. His blood ran cold. He turned and left the house in silence. He walked for hours, lost in thought, fear biting at him like fire ants. Everything was pointing in one direction. His friends had used his clothes for something dark. That evening, as the sun disappeared, Jide returned home and found a small envelope at his gate. No name, no stamp, just one sentence written on the paper inside. "They are eating your glory." He dropped the letter. His knees weakened. He sat on the ground, breathing hard. Was it true? Was this really happening? He remembered how his friends had acted, too kind, too eager to collect his clothes. He thought about the rituals in movies. He remembered his grandmother's warnings. Don't let people take what touches your body unless their heart is clean. Suddenly, everything made sense. Jide got up, his face pale, his lips dry. "I've been cursed," he whispered, "and I gave them the tools to do it." That night, his house went completely dark. The power was gone. His generator refused to start. He lit a candle and sat on the floor, and then it happened. The shadows on the walls began to move, though nothing else did. The candle flickered violently. Then, right in front of him, a face appeared in the shadow, long and stretched with empty eyes and a twisted mouth. "Jide," it whispered. He froze, his mouth opened, but no words came out. "Why did you give your light to those who live in darkness?" The shadow began to grow larger. The room became ice cold. Jide fell backward, shaking. "I didn't know. I was only trying to help." The shadow hissed. "They took your blessings and fed them to the spirits. Your name is fading. Your soul is growing weak." Then the face disappeared. The candle went out. Total darkness. Jide lay on the cold floor crying quietly. By morning, he was too weak to stand. He hadn't eaten. He hadn't bathed. The mighty Jide, the man who once wore gold and silk, now sat in torn clothes, staring at cracked walls. His neighbors began to whisper. "What happened to him?" some asked. Was he involved in something dark? Jide heard them. He felt their judgment like arrows, but he no longer cared. He had lost everything, except one thing, the truth. The truth that his friends were his enemies, that his gifts were weapons turned against him. That kindness, when given to wicked hearts, becomes a curse. But one question still burned in his heart. Can I take it all back? Jide finally sees the full picture. His friends betrayed him using the very clothes he gave them. Now stripped of his dignity and strength, he begins to ask, is there a way to reverse the curse? Jide had not eaten in 2 days. His skin was pale, his voice was weak. His eyes, once full of pride, now looked lost and empty. He had nothing left. No car, no business, no trust. He sat outside his house under the hot sun, looking like a shadow of his former self. His neighbors passed by without greeting. Even the children avoided him now. Once, they used to wave and smile. Now they looked afraid. Suddenly he heard footsteps, slow, firm. He looked up. It was Mama Tawa, the old woman from across the street. Everyone called her the Watcher because she never missed anything that happened on their street. She stood in front of him and stared for a long time. Then she spoke. "You gave your covering to wolves, Jide?" Jide blinked. "What?" "You gave your clothes to people whose hearts were darker than the night. You gave them keys to your glory." Tears rolled down his face. "What do I do, Mama?" "I didn't know." Mama Tawa nodded slowly. "But now you know, and that means you can fight." "Fight?" he whispered. She leaned in close. "Yes, if you're still breathing, you can fight." That evening, she returned with a small bag. In it were strange items: bitter leaves, charcoal, palm oil, a white cloth, and a Bible that looked older than time. "You must wash," she said, "and you must burn." Jide followed her to the back of the compound. There, under the moonlight, she made him undress and pour water mixed with bitter leaves over his body. "Say your name," she ordered. "Jide." "Say it again. Jet louder." "I am Jide," he shouted, tears mixing with water on his face. "Your name must return to you," she whispered. "They've taken it." Then she gave him the Bible. "Read Psalm 35. Read it like your life depends on it." Because it did. He read with shaking hands. "Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me." He read it again and again until his voice broke. Then she lit a fire. "Do you have anything of theirs?" she asked. Jide nodded and went inside. He came out with a photo, one they had taken at a party months ago. All 4 of his friends were there, smiling. He threw it into the fire. The flames roared, the wind howled. Then it was quiet. Mama Tawa spoke. "It has begun. They will feel what you felt." That night, Jide finally slept, not peacefully, but deeply, like a man falling into a dark river. In his dream, he saw the twisted tree again. But this time, he wasn't naked. He was holding a staff of light. His 4 friends were there, kneeling. They looked up at him, eyes full of fear. "Give us back what you took," one of them begged. Jide raised the staff, and lightning flashed. He woke up sweating, but smiling for the first time in weeks. The next morning, news started to spread. Kunli's new car had caught fire on the expressway. Sei collapsed during a meeting and was rushed to the hospital. Timi was robbed at gunpoint, and the thieves took only the designer suits. Emeka's shop was sealed by the police over fraud. One by one, they began to fall. Jide watched the news and trembled. "God," he whispered, "is this real?" That afternoon, he heard a knock on his gate. It was Kunli. The man looked pale and confused. "Jide," he said, "I don't know what's happening to me. Please, forgive me." Jide stared at him for a long time. "You took from me," he said. Kunli nodded. "Yes, we did. We didn't mean to. It was the ritualist. He told us it wouldn't hurt you. Just transfer your luck." "Transfer my luck?" Jide's voice was rising. "I'm sorry, please." Kunli dropped to his knees. "I've lost everything. Help me." Jide stepped back. For a moment, he felt angry. But then, deep inside, he felt something else. Pity. Because now, he knew the truth. People who steal blessings always end in shame. But this war was not over yet. He still needed to find the root of the curse. He still needed to face the ritualist. And this time, he would not go alone. He would go with fire, with prayer, with light. He turned to Mama Tawa. "I'm ready," he said. She smiled. "Good, because the final battle is waiting." Jide begins his spiritual fight to reclaim his stolen glory. One friend has come to beg, the others are falling fast, but the real enemy, the ritualist, remains untouched. Now Jide must face him and break the curse completely. Jide stood at the edge of the forest, his heart pounding. Mama Tawa had guided him to this place, the heart of the darkness that had swallowed his life. The trees were twisted, their branches reaching out like fingers, casting long shadows over the path. It felt like the world was holding its breath. "You're close now," Mama Tawa said softly, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the darkened woods. "The ritualist is here, and his power is stronger than you know. But you have something he doesn't." Jide turned to look at her. "What is it?" "Faith," she said simply. "Your spirit is stronger than his, but only if you believe in your own strength." He nodded. He had nothing left to lose. His life, his name, his glory, All had been stolen. But today, he would fight to take them back. Together, they walked deeper into the forest, the air growing colder. Soon, they arrived at a clearing where a small hut stood. Its roof was made of blackened branches, and smoke curled up from a small chimney. The scent of burning herbs and incense filled the air, thick and suffocating. At the door stood a man, tall, with dark eyes that gleamed with malice. He wore a cloak made of animal hides, and his hands were adorned with strange rings. His face was twisted with a smirk that sent a shiver down Jide's spine. "So the mighty Jide comes to face me," the ritualist said, his voice like cold steel. "I've been waiting for you." Jide took a deep breath. His heart raced, but he stood tall. "I'm not here to beg," he said, his voice steady. "I'm here to take back what you stole from me." The ritualist laughed. "Stole? You gave it away. You gave your soul to me, Jide. You let your friends use your glory, and now it's mine." Jide clenched his fists. "No," he said, shaking his head. "You didn't take it. I gave it to them because I believed in them. I believed in the wrong people." The ritualist stepped closer, his eyes narrowing. "You still don't understand, do you? You're nothing but a fool, Jide. You can't take back what's mine." "Watch me," Jide said, stepping forward. Suddenly, Mama Tawa stepped between them. "Enough," she commanded. "The battle is not between you two, it's between light and darkness." The ritualist sneered, raising his hands. "Then let the light burn, if it can." With that, he began chanting in a language Jide didn't understand. The ground beneath them trembled, and the sky darkened. A strong wind picked up, swirling around them. The ritualist's eyes glowed as if filled with fire, and the air crackled with energy. Jide felt fear creep into his heart, but he remembered Mama Tawa's words. Faith. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, remembering the Bible, the prayers, and the strength that had been with him all along. Slowly he began to chant the words from Psalm 35. "Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me." The ground beneath him began to glow with soft light. The ritualist froze. "What are you doing?" he snarled, trying to move but finding his feet rooted to the ground. Jide's voice grew stronger. "I am taking back what is mine. I will no longer give my power away." As he spoke, the wind died down. The dark clouds above began to part, revealing the moonlight. A soft, pure light surrounded Jide, and for a moment it felt like the entire forest was holding its breath. The ritualist screamed in frustration as the power he had been drawing from Jide's lost glory began to fade. His eyes widened as his strength began to wane. The cloak he wore began to dissolve into ash, and his dark powers were shattered by the light. "No," the ritualist shouted, but his voice was weak. With one final loud cry, the ritualist fell to his knees, and the ground beneath him cracked open. The darkness that had surrounded him was gone, replaced by light and peace. Jide stood, breathing heavily, but the weight on his chest lifted. The curse was broken. Mama Tawa approached him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's over." Jide smiled, a smile he hadn't felt in a long time. "It's over." The sky above them cleared, and the first rays of dawn broke through the trees. Days passed, and Jide slowly rebuilt his life. His friends, who had once used his kindness for evil, began to experience their own downfalls. One by one, they found themselves without the strength they had once taken for granted. Sei lost his business. Kunle couldn't keep up with his debts. Timi, who had laughed at Jide in the past, was now struggling to find a job. Emeka, the one who had been the most selfish, lost everything when his fake wealth was exposed. Jide didn't gloat. He didn't feel satisfaction. He only felt pity. He had learned his lesson. True power wasn't in the clothes he wore or the wealth he gathered. It was in the strength of his heart, the truth of his soul, and the kindness that came from within. And that was something no one could ever take away from him. As the sun rose higher each day, Jide walked with his head held high, free from the past, and ready for whatever future awaited him. Though Jide has reclaimed his glory, the lesson is clear. Giving away your power can lead to your destruction. And sometimes, the hardest battles are those you fight with your own heart. Thanks for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying stories.